Quick disclaimer, in this video I frequently refer to the Razr 60 Ultra. In the United States, it might be called the Moto Razr Plus 2025. It's the same device. What's more fun than talking about phone leaks? Phones that haven't even been formally announced yet, and we already have details on them. That's exactly what we're doing in this video. If we look here at this article from 91 Mobiles, you can see that they have a pretty good look here at the Moto Razr 60 Ultra. They have some specifications and some other fun things like that. But guys, we can actually do a little bit better than this. Maybe you remember about a month ago, I posted a video basically pointing you guys towards another YouTube video and another YouTube channel. A friend of the channel, a guy by the name of Alexis Garza. I'm sure that I am not saying your name correctly. I am, as I've said many times, barely monolingual, let alone bilingual. But at any rate, I'll put a link down below so you can get there yourself. They had posted a video where they had actually gotten their hands on the Samsung Galaxy S25 Edge. Really early look at that device. That was super cool to see. And he is back once again with a hands-on of another unreleased device. This time it is the Moto Razr 60 Ultra. So what did we learn from this video? Well, the specifications are pretty well hammered out at this point for the Razr 60 Ultra. We do have apparently around a 7-inch primary screen there on the inside. I think last year was 6.9 inches, so you're going to be right there in that same general area. There is a 4-inch secondary display on that cover of the device with those two cameras cutting their way through that cover display. His device had 16 gigs of RAM and 512 gigs of storage, but I believe there's also a 12 gig RAM variant as well. 50 megapixel primary camera, 50 megapixel ultra wide camera. We'll loop back around to that here in just a moment because that's actually fairly important. And then a 50 megapixel selfie camera. They're not really skimping on the resolution, at least, with these cameras. 4700 milliamp hour battery, 68 watt wire charging, 30 watt wireless charging, and then shipping with Android 15. All that does sound pretty darn good, but we have a little bit more to talk about here. I'll pull up a screen grab from the video. Look at the texture on the back of this device. Now, Motorola's done stuff like this before. You can't really see this there, but it's kind of like a texturized back on the prior models. But this is like a faux leather back on at least this model, and I really like that. I love seeing stuff like this that would let me use the device without a case, because for me, typically a case is to add grip, and this already has grip, so I was really happy to see something like this on the back of that device. And it's interesting that being faux leather, they didn't go with that, what's it called, where it's like there's a smooth finish on top of. Is that patent leather? I think that's what that's called. It's not that. We also did get a really good look at the crease in the middle of the screen. It is fairly broad, but it does seem very shallow as well. And as you see throughout his video, as he's showing you the screen, it's very difficult to see. Motorola has long done a pretty darn good job on their creases. I mentioned that we would circle back around to the camera. So for a while, what they were doing is having a 50 megapixel primary and then a 50 megapixel 2x optical zoom. Now, to me, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. With a 50 megapixel primary sensor, you can do a 2x crop just fine. There's more than enough resolution there for you to do that. And it seems like Motorola has sort of realized that, because now what they've done is they have switched to a 50 megapixel primary and a 50 megapixel ultra wide, and you can do your zoom via digital crop. So that is a little bit of a change of maybe the strategy with this device. If you want to see a whole bunch of photo samples of what that's going to get you, definitely do check out his full video, link in the description down below. And while his content is in Spanish, even if you don't speak Spanish, YouTube has this really cool feature now where you can do audio track and change it to English. They're automatically dubbing stuff now, so you're still going to be able to watch this and understand what he's saying just fine. Something else that you might notice, if we come right up here on that side of the device, there is actually an additional button. This is Motorola's new Moto AI button. They're kind of joining the ranks of the Nothing brand phones having a dedicated AI button. Now, while he doesn't dive too deeply into the functionality of this button, I would assume it's going to work very, very similarly to how they've implemented Moto AI in other places, where it's going to give you the ability to summarize your notifications. You've got the ability to record, transcribe, and summarize recordings, quickly create notes inside of a journal, and you can also generate wallpapers with generative AI in addition to quite a few other things. When it comes to pricing and availability, things are, let's say, a little bit murky at the moment. Now, I would assume that it's probably set for a release in the United States, but lots of things are up in the air right now. In terms of pricing, we have heard that it could be somewhere around 1,350 euros. What would that mean for the United States? It's very, very difficult to say right now, but I would expect to see again a release in the US and maybe a little bit of a price jump from prior models. But again, do not set that in stone. Things are subject to change. The good news is you won't have to wait too long. The full announcement should occur on April the 24th, which is actually very, very close to right now. Guys, thanks for watching. I do want to once again encourage you to go check out the link in the description down below to go check out the original video, because there's a ton more information and context in there. You're basically getting a first impressions of a phone that has not even been announced yet. There is a lot of utility in that, so definitely go check that out and help support a friend of the channel. Subscribe for more content like this, and until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.